Morning, everyone. Thank you for all being here with us today. It is 6:15 and I'd like to welcome everybody both in person and watching via YouTube live stream. While I call the meeting for March 10th to order at 6:15 p.m. Beginning with our tribute. In partnerships with tribes who called Phoenix their home first, we acknowledge and respect the land our schools are built on. We commit to being a strong partner with any and all tribal nations who entrust their children to our schools. We are grateful and honored to be partners. With that, may we have a roll call, please, Ms. Miriam?
Yes. Trujillo,
Present.
Jessica Bueno,
Here.
Reggie Carrillo. Yes. Alicia Day,
Here.
Eloy Diaz.
Madam Chair, Dr. Diaz is going to join us via Zoom. Has she,
I see her logged in, so maybe she's just
I see her
muted.
there. She's on mute. Okay,
Well,
thank you.
Let the record reflect she is online. So with four of us being here in person, we do have a quorum, so we can go ahead and proceed. Moving on, I'd like to welcome Mr. Josh Good to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, with that, let's move on to the adoption of our agenda. Any recommendations for the agenda as presented today?
Madam Chair, we have no recommendations for modifying the agenda.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Jessica Bueno, so moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Alicia Dean, second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, can we please have a roll call vote? Ms. Miriam?
Yes. Trujillo,
Aye.
Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Reggie Carrillo. Aye. Alicia Day,
Aye.
Eloy Diaz.
With that, the motion passes, and we will move on to item 8.5, our awards recognition and announcements. Dr. Weeks, do you have anything to say before we get started? I know I'm first in line today.
You know, Madam Chair, members of the governing board, I'm always appreciative that you help me do these award recognitions and announcements. Nobody wants to hear my voice for 45 minutes.
It's exciting.
At the end of our recognition and announcements, we would like to spend a few more minutes with Mr. Good and to show appreciation and respect for his art and for the things that he's doing for the community. But I would say let's proceed.
Wonderful. Thank you and welcome, Mr. Good. We're glad to have you here. So first one, Emerson School recently celebrated their 100th anniversary by hosting a community-wide fair. To honor the school's 100-year legacy, Emerson, in partnership with Arizona's Sustainability Alliance and nearly 100 volunteers, planted 100 trees and plants for future generations to enjoy. In addition, guests enjoyed an outdoor school health fair with music, food, and activities. As a part of the festivities, second and third graders performed an original song written for their anniversary. Students read their winning essays detailing what they love about Emerson, and Emerson alumni returned to campus to dig up a time capsule. We were also thrilled to welcome Fox 10 and Arizona Family for a live news broadcast from the school, as well as the Arizona Republic. Now we'd like to take a few minutes to share one of the news segments. Thank you, Ms. Jeffries.
Happening today, Emerson Elementary School in Phoenix is celebrating its centennial by planting 100 trees today. And joining us this morning is the principal there, Nick Lodato. Good morning, Nick. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great. Well, congratulations on your centennial. That is a huge thing happening today. And you guys are marking this by planting those 100 trees. Tell me a little bit about where this idea came from.
Yeah, in fact, I was just looking back at old records. We started this process over a year ago and conceived of the idea to celebrate the last 100 years of Emerson Elementary School and invest in the next 100 years by planting 100 trees and plants. The conversation started there, and since that time, it's just snowballed into a huge community event.
So Nick, tell us a little about where you guys will be planting those trees today.
Yeah, we've mapped this out. They're going to be all over the campus, in fact, but the majority of the trees will be on the playground. So students will, as the trees grow, will have access to increased shade.
Very cool. Now, where do these trees come from?
The trees were purchased by support from the community, both businesses and individual donors. And our goal for this entire event was to raise $16,000 originally. And we discovered we needed a little bit more than that. And in the end, we ended up raising over $20,000 from donors in the community, families, staff, and business partners right here. So they've made all of this possible.
Very cool. And Nick, I think this is so cool because it's kind of going to be a long-lasting legacy. All those trees that are going to be out there planted for generations to enjoy to come. Talk about what that means for you, kind of as the principal right now, that these trees will be enjoyed for years to come.
Yeah, that's really exciting for us because we, as you mentioned too, this is for generations to come. So you plant trees today for all the generations that come after you, right? We're not going to enjoy this shade today, but it'll be here for years and years to come for our kids who are kindergartners now, by the time they're 8th graders, to come back and see what these are like and what they were, how it was for them here on this day. It's pretty special.
I bet the kids are excited as well, right, Nick?
Oh, I'm sure they are. We have some students who are returning from our desert design camp from a year ago in the summer who are coming back. And today they get to bring parents with them to work alongside them as they both plant trees and plants together.
Now, Nick, we've got about 30 seconds left, but you guys obviously need a lot of help today to plant 100 trees. As someone that's doing some minor landscaping at my house, I know it is a painstaking process. So you're asking folks to come out and help, right?
That's right. So we've recruited over the course of about 4 weeks, recruited. Our goal was 100 volunteers, right? 100 years, we need 100 volunteers. We want 100 plants. So we not only met that goal, we surpassed that with the support from the community, staff, and families, and have 109 registered volunteers with about 20 or 30 more folks on the wait list. So a lot of people are really looking forward to being here today.
That is really cool. So this is all going to be kicking off here in a couple hours, right? 8 o'clock this morning. Well, Nick, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us this morning. Congratulations. This has been such a cool thing for the community right there in your school. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Dunbar School partnered with Phoenix Children's Hospital to provide parent classes on car seat safety. Parent Zoom meetings were held in English and Spanish. In addition, PCH donated and installed 15 car seats to families who attended the car seat safety class. Thank you, Phoenix Children's Hospital, for ensuring our families understand the importance of securing children properly in car seats.
On Tuesday, February 22nd, most schools hosted kindergarten registration events to begin registering new students for the 2022 school year, 2022-23 school year. Lowell School had an all-star class with Mickey Mouse in attendance, and other schools partnered with community organizations to get parents connected and ready for the little ones to start kindergarten. 105 families attended the registration events, and 96 children were registered for the next school year.
On Friday, February 25th, Faith North Early Childhood Learning Center held its first field day celebration since 2019. Students participated in sack races, an obstacle course, egg races, face painting, bubble catching, parachute games, and more. Volunteers from Exceptional Student Services and Emerson Court helped with each of the 14 fun-filled stations, while teachers rotated their classes through the activities. There were smiles for miles at Faith North for Field Day. Special thanks to Mara Castillo for her awesome organization and hilarious use of the megaphone. Many thanks to Alicia Zelvis, Bryce Sellier, Jessica Hartridge, Gordania Roofer, Nicole Burge, Amanda McDaniel, Ben P, Asana Raman, Don Baumgardner, Andrew Hoover, Crystal Famania, and Seth Alshire for their energy and enthusiasm.
Monday, March 15th is School Social Work Day.
And we want to thank our school social workers for all they do to support the social and emotional needs of our students and families. To show our appreciation, special recognition, note card will be given to our social workers.
Congratulations to Zell Fowler, gifted teacher at Whittier School, for being featured in the February 16 edition of the Arizona Informant newspaper. Ms. Fowler is the president of the Arizona Alliance of Black School Educators and was among 12 nonprofits to be named recipients of an Equity in STEAM initiative by Intel and YWCA. Each recipient will receive $2,500 to support a project that inspires underrepresented students to consider STEAM careers and the opportunity to participate in the YWCA Equity Leadership Learning Series with workshops facilitating conversations involving the intersection of social equity and STEAM.
On Friday, March 4th, Hurd School hosted a digital STEM career day in partnership with the SciTech Institute and Waymo for all students in kindergarten through 8th grade. Featured career paths included a software and hardware engineer, a paleontologist, an engineering flight deputy, a Waymo operations planning manager, a forensic scientist, a biomedical researcher, biology and environmental scientist, and more. In addition, students were able to tour and see a demonstration of a Waymo electric Jaguar I-Pace vehicle. What a great way to expose students to STEM career pathways and meet STEM professionals.
How exciting. I want to see one of those. For our eighth recognition this evening, the Kenilworth staff wanted to show their support staff how much they are appreciated, and each grade level planned a top secret project to create We Heart displays for the school support teams. The displays were hung throughout the school hallways as a way to show gratitude for all they do for the Kenilworth student and families. In honor of the district's 150th anniversary, students, families, and the community are invited to a community-wide picnic in the park on Saturday, March 26th from 10:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. on the east side of Margaret T. Hans Park, located at 1200 North First Street. This will be a day filled with family fun, exploration, and connecting with the community. All schools will host display tables, and community partners are invited to join in the fun. Families are invited to bring a picnic lunch, or food trucks will be available on site for lunch purchases. In addition, the marketing department, in partnership with the Office of the Maricopa County Superintendent, is creating a video highlighting each of our schools and their best kept secrets to educating students in our community. Nearly 60 hours have been spent meeting with principals and visiting all schools to capture the sights and sounds of our campuses for this video project. In addition, a marketing video for each school is being produced to showcase what makes our schools unique and why families should choose any one of our 15 schools to educate their children. We look forward to debuting the 150th anniversary video at the community picnic on March 26th, and the individual school marketing videos will be available later this spring.
Magnet Traditional School teacher Joshua Good was featured on Arizona Family 3 TV and CBS 5 for a photo exhibition he hosted in downtown Phoenix called Omnipresent. This exhibition highlighted Black fathers in the community with their sons and daughters. We would like to share a short segment aired on the news.
to make a change in his community. So this weekend, he's hosting a photo exhibition to highlight and uplift Black fathers.
And as our Whitney Park reports, some of his inspiration comes from his own grandfather, who you may recognize as the longest serving city council member in Phoenix history.
If a picture is worth 1,000 words, Joshua Good's photographs tell stories that span generations.
Getting a really intimate photo of them together is something we don't necessarily see in males in general.
The powerful portraits are part of Good's upcoming exhibit in downtown Phoenix called Omnipresent.
What does fatherhood look like?
Fathers and sons, daughters and dads, his creativity highlighting the bonds between Black fathers and their children.
There's just a stereotype that Black fathers are just kind of absent in their kids' lives, and it's something that's portrayed in media and movies and all these different things. So I was like, I want to change the narrative as much as I can.
And Good certainly has a lot of men in his life, both consistent and supportive, which is partly how he landed on the title Omnipresent. That includes his father and grandfather, the trailblazing Phoenix City Council member and civil rights icon Calvin C. Good.
Both of them they were very calculated and very observant.
The idea for the exhibit came during the 2020 Black Lives Matter movement. The passing of Good's late grandfather at the end of that year, further motivation. Calvin and his wife Georgie were passionate education advocates who fought for change and equity, making a real difference in the community for decades. And Good is following in their footsteps.
You know, we look at celebrities and people all around the world and the impact they make, but you can make the same impact in your community and make people feel like you change them and inspire them.
Good does inspire by day as a teacher who's also getting his master's to become a school counselor, all with 2 young kids of his own.
No matter how much I love, my wife and my family, like my parents and siblings, it's like a completely different love that I haven't experienced ever in my life.
Unconditional and omnipresent love passed on for generations.
Well, you can still buy tickets online for the exhibit. It starts this Saturday at 6 p.m. It's going to be off 3rd Avenue near Jefferson Street in downtown Phoenix. And the proceeds go to 2 nonprofits, including Black American Dad Foundation. All of this information and more will be on our website, azfamily.com. In the newsroom, Whitney Clark, Arizona's Family.
Josh, from one dad to another, thank you. Would you come on up for just a second? Want to thank you again for your contribution to the community, to society. How did you come up with the name Omnipresent?
It kind of was based off of that similar idea that I mentioned in the video, just the fact that Black fathers stereotypically are seen as people that are absent and not in their children's lives, and it's just consistently reinforced. And so to me, I just kind of wanted to show like we're always here, we're always going to be here, and the stereotype doesn't necessarily, it's not accurate. So that's kind of like where I landed on the name.
So Josh, you're an amazing educator at Phoenix Elementary over at Magnet School. You're the lead of the middle school team there. You're a fantastic photographer, clearly, and you're very passionate, and your art speaks volumes, speaks loudly.
Thank you.
And we really, really appreciate it. I would open it up to any board member that would like to say, make any comments.
I'll go first. I'm really glad you're part of the family here. You get to lead by example for our youth at Magnet, but what a wonderful project to show our kids. Thank you so very much for the idea, the effort, and for being here. Thanks, Vicky.
Hi, this is Dr. Diaz. I don't know if you can see me or hear me. Well, this topic definitely rings very dear to my heart, being a mom of little ones, and I'm just so thrilled to see your artwork out there uplifting Black men and men of color, and I'm excited to see what else comes out of this. So thank you for representing our community.
Thank you.
I want to say, just as an educator whose belief is just stepping outside the classroom, impact what's happening inside your classroom. Thank you for carrying that, for living that philosophy too, because we know that so much of what happens inside our classroom happens outside of our classroom. Our students are coming from society outside and coming from traumas that they're dealing with of their own, and you recognizing that and seeing that in them Just helps build that relationship, and I'm sure they see that with you, and I'm sure you have strong relationships with your students because you can recognize that with the students that you're teaching. So thank you for carrying the legacy of your grandfather too here and investing the time in our school district.
Yeah, thank you and congratulations on, being part of that show. And I really appreciate all your work and effort into being an example and leading by that example. I would absolutely just echo the sentiments of my colleagues. We appreciate you greatly.
Hey, Josh, were you old enough to come to board meetings when your grandparents were board members?
Absolutely not. And if I was, I probably would not remember. Yeah.
So just a little bit of information, your grandparents were both board members here at Phoenix Elementary. And so being part of the community is part of the fabric of your family, it
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like.
I mean, I've been in the district. I went to school at Magnet, teaching at Magnet, and so it's just all a full circle moment. So I just want to thank you guys for just taking the time out for meetings to do this. Completely unexpected, wasn't looking for it, and so I appreciate it.
The principal there would like for you to retire at Magnet too, just a little plug. So you're getting your master's.
Yeah.
And in counseling.
Yeah.
What are your aspirations there?
To continue to work in the community and to help students get further, whether it's in their careers, with their social and emotional, et cetera. I just want to be able to be an individual that continues the work that we all are doing, but just at a different capacity. I do have 2 children now, and teachers spend a lot of time outside of the classroom, and I'm just trying to get back to being able to spend my time with my children at home, but also still be able to make the impact that I want to make.
So what is this? I've been in your classroom, students are engaged. They're learning. You're teaching, they're learning. What's your secret to engagement? And what was your secret to engaging them during the pandemic?
I think just building relationships. I think that's the start for everybody. It's just, I created an environment where the students are able to talk to me and share about anything, whether it's something that they think I need to continue to teach a little bit more, and like just opening those lines of communication with them made them a little comfortable. And I think just building those relationships, including a sense of humor, in teaching, just keeping them engaged. And I think after you keep them engaged, everything else kind of falls into place.
That's good advice. Thank you so much, Josh. We have just a few people in the audience today. Does anybody else in the audience have any questions or would like to say something to Josh? I just think this is amazing. You're an amazing person. I think this is a kind of a once in a time opportunity, right? Because my last question is, when's your next show? What's your next step for your art?
I have no idea. I kind of just let things kind of inspire me, and then I go from there. But I mean, all of my work is always going to have a message in it, and I think once that message just kind of comes to me, that's when I usually start to work, a little more. So who knows? Could be this year, could be 3 years from now. I don't know. I just wait to be inspired by something.
Well, just let us know when you're inspired so we can be there, because the next show is going to be amazing too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Good, I've got a quick question. Can you clarify which Saturday that show was? So I can,
It was,
The 26th.
yes, February 26th. So,
just wanted to be sure because I missed that part. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thanks so much, Josh, for spending some time with us today. You can hang out as long as you like, or if you have, other things that need to happen, we're grateful for that too. So thanks again.
Hard to move on from such excitement. But now we'll welcome Mr. Quintana to talk about our COVID data dashboard update.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. And good evening, board members, colleagues, and community. Wanted to provide the board a quick update regarding the cases in the county that provided by the Department of Health Services. And we want to provide information regarding the positivity rates in the county, as in particular in our specific zip codes, as well as the case rates. The first one here is regarding positivity percentage. And the good news is that if you focus on the very last column to the right, which is the most recent data from today, it shows a positivity rate across the different zip codes. And as we've had over the last couple of weeks, we've had a trend of a reduction in the positivity rate, which is, it's good news for us, for our students and our families. And so that's something that we wanted to show you. We also have information regarding the case rates across the different zip codes. And if you look at the asterisks there, most of the asterisks on the right percentages are green, which means that's a positive trend in our favor, from the previous week. So over the last several weeks, we've had a positive trend when it comes to reduction of the case rates, reduction of positivity rates across the different zip codes. There are some exceptions, obviously, with a couple that are in the red that that went up a little bit. But in general, most of the zip codes have shown a good trend in reduction of positivity case rate. Input or? So again, if you focus on the very last column on the right, the March 10th data from today, that has the case rates across the different districts on some zip codes. And as you can see again, most of them are asterisks in green, which show a positive trend, from the previous week. And also, that's part of the reason why we've been mentioning the last couple of times is that we are looking at making some changes in our safety mitigation plans. We're getting grouped together the safety mitigation team, as well as Help to Verify. And we want to come back to the board with some recommendations for changes at the March 24th meeting. So that's something that we want to get there on the agenda and so provide you some options that we have that we want to recommend for changes. And, obviously we want to get your feedback. And we will also probably provide you a board update prior to that. So you can, you'll be there prepared to have this discussion. And that's it for the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Quintana. Let's move on to our community communication.
Well, Madam Chair, very quickly, can I
Oh,
interject?
please, yes.
I have another celebration, and this is a departmental celebration, and this is really me looking into the work that our marketing department is doing relative to Vice President Bueno's request for the newsletter, which will be coming out. And so if it's okay with the governing board, I would just kind of like to report on my research. So, Linda, this is a little bit about you, surprise. And Ian recently joined you. But I just want to recognize our marketing department for the things that they have done to communicate from helping schools oversee the COVID mitigation plan, assisting with COVID communication and pool testing reports. This is going to sound like a list, but that's because there's just an absolute kind of myriad of a variety of things that are coming from our marketing department to promote the transparency of the district to the community. And I think it's time to take a little pause. We've promoted countless COVID vaccination and testing events at our schools and within our communities, create video promoting the importance of getting children vaccinated. We've responded to a multitude of public requests and being of service to our 15 schools. Our entire team of Phoenix Elementary, the family, continues to work 10 to 15 hours a day supporting our schools and students. And of course, the folks at district office and the marketing department is no exception. This department plays a critical role in helping our schools and departments with communication efforts, robocalls, emergency situations, and so much more. In addition to working with COVID protocols and responses, I'd like to recognize the department for its work on its 150th celebration coming up on March 26th. And the acknowledgement of the 150th logo, the webpage, Facebook post, and then the proclamation that Ms. Bueno, you submitted to the city of Phoenix. So thank you for your support of the 150th and for all board members, really, because we're all in this together. Worked with the historian to write a timeline, fun facts about the 150th, and to create online historical school locations. And if you haven't seen these things, they're pictures of schools, and you're to try to guess which schools they are. Of course, we have more video footage, and then of course the 150 students that got together at Kenilworth, and we have a big aerial shot for that. We also have a customer service campaign and provided training to all administrators and the administrative staff, the secretarial staff. The department helped to train the administrative team on the importance of having an elevator pitch. And I'm excited to hear about the elevator pitch. It's really a kind of a quick talking point series for why families would want to join a particular school. I'm excited to hear that. Currently partnering with the county school superintendent's office, creating a video. I think we talked about it a little bit earlier on the 150th. And there, Makisa is also helping us with creating marketing videos for all schools. And Mr. Hio, you and I were here doing our 15 minutes, 15 seconds of fame yesterday, right? There's been a few media stories. We saw a couple of them here tonight, and we also will add Shaw and Emerson, and we have Josh, we've had Kenilworth, we've had, so there's been plenty of good and other news about us in as of late. We've marketed our kindergarten registration. We currently have our preschool flyer rolling out to more than 36,000 residents, promoting our preschool registration. And Ms. Jester, really for you is thank you for your work in working with the Shining Life Foundation to have the 2 murals painted over plant services. And I think we've all been down there to see that. And you're right, it is a little tricky to get a fist bump out of Martin Luther King Jr. And so, Ms. Jeffries, you recently created a district profile for the board and the superintendent search. So thank you so much for all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Linda Jeffries. And so with all of this stuff, Madam Chairman of the Governing Board, we intend to bring back the nuts and bolts of both a printed and digital newsletter version at the 25th, April 25th board. So thank you so much for indulging me with that kind of additional celebration tonight.
Perfect. Part of the superintendent's report. And I would like to echo that. Thank you for all your work. That profile was perfect. It was great. I was really excited to read that. So thank you so very kindly, Ms. Jeffries, for pulling that rabbit out of your hat. All right. Probably were community communications. Sorry.
We have Paul, I have one person, Mr. Kristen Matthews.
Okay.
Speaking on engagement and stuff, substitute.
Welcome, Chris. We'll hold all comments at 3 minutes. I think that would be good today, if you don't mind. Ms. Bueno. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. So I'm impressed, right? So I'm Chris. I'm from Chicago. I'm actually moving here. My daughter is here. Yeah, so I'm a substitute teacher. I was like, let me go check out before I sat on. And like I said, I'm impressed, from just all different aspects of what you all just showed, community engagement, y'all's transparency on the website. What else? And just like I said, community engagement. So I was at a board meeting in Chicago, right? And the superintendent stood up and she was like, we need community engagement. We need more people at the board meetings. She was like, I don't have all the answers. We need more stakeholders. We need more students, parents. And it really just spoke to me, right? And I was like, I feel like I can do something about this. So I'm an author, and I believe that she was right, and the next superintendent out there on the district, county, or state level, with the right engagement, they're gonna be like the next Devin Booker or Chris Paul, right? They're gonna be amazing. So that's why I wrote superintendents take the best selfies, right? Because it's very engaging, fun, right? It's about a superintendent who wants to get outside his comfort zone and start traveling the world. So I'll share that with you all. So I love to work with the marketing department on it. Because it's both, it's for the kids and it's for the community. And then I created, I'm sitting here looking, I'm like, this is amazing. I created principles out of OKS Farmers, right? And that's about a principal planting seeds in the kids. And I'm like, wow, I don't know if this story could be any better. So yeah, the goal is to really engage the kids and community, right? And to get them thinking like, hey, I could be the next state superintendent or county superintendent or district superintendent. Why not, right? Why not have them thinking that way? So yeah, I'm Chris, and love to share with you all, and hopefully I can be on the next agenda. So I'll share with you the book.
Thank you, Chris. Chris, do you have a way for us to contact you? Did you put your phone number on the card there? Okay. Superintendents take the best selfie. How about that? Okay, thank you, Chris.
Thank you for that. Just as a reminder, the board is not able to comment on community communications, but we are hopeful that we'll be able to connect with Ms. Jeffries and the district to get those needs met. Thank you very much for being here. Ms. Miriam, whenever you're ready, we can proceed with the electronic ones.
Okay. Communication number 1 from Jeff Wright. Greetings, school board. My name is Jeff Wright, and I have 2 young children at Shaw Montessori. We must address the issue of mandatory masking. Enough is enough. Let parents decide what is best for their children. Do not simply cling to policies. The mandate was enacted without any parameters besides CDC guidance. The CDC's new COVID-19 community levels recommendations align precautions for educational settings with those for other community settings. Those community settings now remove masking requirements in areas that are not high risk. According to the very same CDC, Maricopa County is not high risk. Repeal the mask mandate. I should also point out that CDC recommends against eating raw chocolate chip cookie dough. Who wants to live in that kind of world? Not me. Since this mandate was enacted based on one single variable, following CDC guidance, it should not be hard to pivot when that one variable changes. Inability to do so undermines the public's faith in your policies. Repeal the mask mandate. Add this to your next agenda and be done with mandatory masks. My daughter adores Shaw, her teachers, and her classmates, but she now laments that Shaw is not a normal school that lets kids be normal kids. Repeal the mask mandate and let's bring smiles back to Phoenix schools. Thank you. Community comment number 2 from Leanne Dingley. My name is Leanne Dingley, and I am a proud exceptional student services teacher and facilitator at Garfield Elementary. I'm also the PBIS facilitator, promoting student and staff social, emotional well-being through use of positive behavior systems. I am a fierce advocate for equality and accessibility in our students' education. Today, I am asking PESD to remain an equal and competitive paying employer by avoiding the proposed salary cuts to our valuable educators in the 22-23 school year. I just wanted to note my letter is about 3.5 minutes long. If I may please have an extra few moments to address my concerns. July marks my 9th year with Phoenix Elementary District. I was hired through NAU's student teaching program, where I simultaneously completed my master's in education and began my first year of teaching as a 4th grade teacher. I continue on to earn a certificate of special education. My education today puts me at a master's plus credit grade with additional bachelor credits. My higher education has put me in $90,000 debt, resulting in a mathematically impossible debt to income ratio, even with current compensation schedules. Due to my high proficiency teacher rating, I have been able to gain some additional compensation through various stipends over the last few years. This kept my total income at a very nearly competitive salary, but not enough to start a savings, buy a home, or reduce my debt. My $44,092 base salary plus the additional PDC compensations earned me about $55,000 in my 8th year of teaching. The proposed compensation cuts will result in an estimated $3,000 reduction in my overall compensation, bringing my annual compensation to less than $52,000. As a single mother and with the current rate of inflation at 7.5%, I already need to rely on supplemental income such as tutoring and coaching to make ends meet. Public comment number 3. Good evening, President Trujillo, Governor Board, Dr. Weeks, members of Cabinet. I'm sorry, this is from Jay Barbuda. Members of Cabinet, Phoenix #1 family, my incredible members. My name is Jay Barbuda. I am a middle school ERA teacher at Edison, and I proudly serve as president of PECTA. I'd like to take a moment to thank the following people for their work throughout the district recently. Thank you so much to Marnie Burris, Diane Anton, and the members of the Meet and Confer team. The work that is done on this committee is strenuous, difficult, and burdensome, but I couldn't think of a stronger group of women than John Franklin leading the way for our association. Thank goes to Erin Frericks and the members of the Prop 301 committee. The effort you put forth for these meetings does not go unnoticed and is so important when it comes to compensation for educators. Both of these committees will be working as hard as possible to present more sustainable base salaries across the district. To the members in the crowd and those listening at home, be ready to show up and support during these crucial meetings. I also wanted to thank the district for proposing the increase in minimum wage for our classified employees. These folks work tirelessly to help our schools operate on a day-to-day basis. We hope these increases continue from year to year. The next 2 months are going to be critical as our association fights to, as we put in the last meeting, look under every rock and explore all options when it comes to finding more sustainable funding. Our association looks forward to working with Dr. Diaz and Mr. Norris and the rest of the district administration team to find more equitable solutions for our base salaries. Also, our association would like to say thanks to Dr. Gonzalez, who met this week with the association leadership to discuss how we can transform our learning sites into the most appealing school district for families in the state. We are looking forward to continuing this partnership with you as we strive to increase student success and enrollment. Lastly, on the topic of the recurring mask mandate, our association had a chance to poll our members to see where those are all the comments.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Lots of good info this evening. Thank you very much. Moving on to item B is our approval of the consent agenda. Our consent agenda lists several items for approval of the board in a single motion. These items listed under the consent agenda have gone through the superintendent's cabinet review and recommendation. Documentation concerning these items has been provided to all board members and the public as part of the itemized agenda. Items may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any board members. I just wanted to give a quick snippet. And I don't have any changes to the agenda this evening. Does anybody else have any recommendations for the consent agenda? With that, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Jessica Bueno.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
Reggie Carrillo, second.
Thank you, Mr. Carrillo. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Miriam, may we please have a roll call vote to approve the consent agenda?
Yes. Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
Jessica Bueno,
Yes.
Reggie Carrillo,
Aye.
Elisa Vick,
Aye.
Laura Diaz,
Aye.
With that, our motion passes. Thank you very much. We'll be skipping item E this evening.
Madam Chair, I hate to be
Don't be.
But I would like to recognize that the board just approved Ms. Claire Ansell's appointment to be the new principal at Bethune School. Thank you for that. And we'll ask Ms. Sells. Ms. Sells is out of the state, but we will ask Ms. Sells to join us at our next meeting if the board is amenable to that. And we'd like to properly welcome her to the principal ranks. Ms. Sells has lots and lots of experience within our Phoenix Cell family, and we're very lucky to have her take on the campus in Dr. Petrie's retirement.
That is great news. Thank you very much, Dr. Weeks. Yes, congratulations. I'm sure that was a trying, or at least, I'm not too sure what hiring is in our district, but I know it's a lot. Yeah, I assume so, since we're just starting our adventure, but yes, welcome, Ms. Sells. I'm excited to meet you in the near future to get to hear this. And with that, we will move on to item F with Mr. Quintana to talk about our MOU with the Child Crisis Arizona memorandum.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. This first item, I forgot to ask Dr. Rivas, is this something that you present on, or who will present on this particular item?
Sure, I can present on this item. This is an MOU with a new partner, Child Crisis Arizona, who will be able to provide services through our Family Engagement Center to help parents with some basic parenting components, but primarily with car seat safety and other issues that are designed to help make sure that our children are safe at home and as they are traveling. So this is one new partner that Ms. Paloma Orozco has found to help us provide more services for our families.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. So it's recommended that we approve this, or are we just listening about it tonight? I don't see a decision on here.
It is recommended that we vote to approve this MOU so that we can begin providing these services for our families.
Thank you. I've got the short version of our agenda printed in front of me. I apologize. So with that, do we have a motion to approve the MOU as presented?
I just have a question. Will the services provided by the Child Crisis Arizona also be provided in Spanish?
They do have interpreters, and we have asked that all of the trainings are provided in both English and in Spanish, or that we can provide an interpreter, and they've agreed to that.
Thank you. I move to approve the memorandum of understanding.
Reggie Carrillo, second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Graham, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Reggie Carrillo,
Aye.
Elisa Vick,
Aye.
Laura Diaz.
Aye.
With that, the motion passes. Thank you, everyone. Let's move on to item F2.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'm excited to announce that we are ready to make a recommendation regarding our benefit plans, particularly with health insurance plans and also dental and vision, as well as employee assistance plan. And this has been a process that's taken place over the last 3 months with a group of individuals across the district, as well as some leadership here at the district, where we've gone through a process of an RFP for our new carrier that we want to recommend this evening. And it's a little bit different than our typical year because for the past 5 years, we've contracted with Blue Cross Blue Shield for a medical plan. And what we do is every 5 years, we go through an RFP process to select or keep the same carrier for the next the next 5 years. So this evening, we're ready to make a recommendation for the carriers for medical and dental and vision. And we have a group of individuals that are going to be talking to this plan, and ultimately, we'd like to ask for your approval of these carriers. I believe, Monique, are you going to go first? So we have a few individuals, Monique Harris, our procurement manager. And we also have other folks that will be presenting tonight, Crystal Senesi, Mr. Damon Norris, Dr. Vic Diaz. And these are just a few of the individuals that have been engaged in this process for like I said, three months or so. And so we'll go through the process in this discussion.
Thank you. Good evening. Did I have the apologies? So as Mr. Quintana has spoke, we are in the process of asking for a recommendation of approval for the work that we have been doing on this big project. As you can see that the rationale behind this is our group medical and our prescription drug plan, our dental and vision plan, and also our employee assistant program. They're all going to expire on June 30th. So it's imperative that we get a replacement for those. And I wanted to make sure that we spend a little time talking about the review committee. This process cannot take place without our stakeholders. So we had a very nice representation across the district, teachers, principals, IAs, plan operation individuals from the district as well, so that they could give their buy-in, so that they can have a voice, and so that we can make the most advantageous decision for the district. And we also worked with our Siegel group, our insurance consultants, to help us analyze these very complex proposals. So I wanted to speak a little bit about the entire process. I started this as you know, I started in August, so I've only been here for about 7 months. So the majority of my time here has been spent on this project. So you look at the timeline. We started the planning part of it in October, and I tried to visually simplify the procurement process the best way that I could with 6 steps. But as you know, it's very complex and laborious, this entire process. So we started our project planning, and then we went into the drafting of the RFP. And then we went into the issuing in November and December. We distribute this solicitation to 107 vendors. So in accordance to the state procurement code, my goal was to make sure that we maximize competition and to reach out to as many vendors, comparable vendors as possible. So for the group medical and prescription drug plan, I reached out to 107 vendors. Out of that pool of vendors, I only had 5 acceptable responses. So that is what we evaluated. Our evaluation process, we had a very interesting evaluation process. I have been doing this for over a decade, and this is the first time that I've ever went into a second best and final. So what that means is our evaluation team shortlist vendors in our first best and final.
And then just to show how committed, how engaged they were in this process, they still wanted to do a second negotiation with the top 2 finalists. So we went into a second best and final and decided on 2 vendors to do that with. And then they made their final selection. So tonight we'll be talking about awarding of that contract to their final recommendation. So now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Diaz. He's going to talk about the plan considerations.
Madam President, members of the board, members of the cabinet, and of course, members of the community at home. The committee took very seriously the charge of looking at these 5 vendors as we're thinking about our medical plan and our prescription plan. In addition to cost that Damon's going to be talking about in a moment, we wanted to look, beyond the price tag to really think about the type of plan and the type of care we're going to be getting. And what we bulleted here is just some of the major considerations that the committee discussed. The number one was really minimizing disruption. In a year that has challenged so many people in so many different ways, the timing of this is challenging. And so we wanted to make sure that people individually would experience as little disruption as possible. So what that looked like was making sure a couple things were going to happen. One, we wanted to maintain our current insurance costs for our employees to make sure that they would not see a rise in what this plan is going to cost them. We also want to make sure to keep our plans consistent. We currently offer 3-tier choices in our plan at no charge to the employee. There's a PPO option as well as a high deductible health plan. And then there's a buy-up option on the PPO side to expand the network. We asked all the vendors to mimic those plan designs so that we can keep that as consistent as possible. What we also asked the vendors to do was to really show us the ways in which they could build up more access to wellness resources, as well as telehealth services. The pandemic has certainly shown the sort of gaps that exist in access to these services for our staff and for their families. And so it's very important that we examine plans through these different lenses. It was through doing each of these that we again went to a best and final with 2 carriers. We did the second best and final in the form of interviews, ultimately with the committee coming to a consensus that United Healthcare was the vendor who best met all of these needs. It is an opportunity for us to actually drive down some costs for our employees, which we'll get to in a moment. It's a plan where the networks are substantially similar to the ones we currently have. And again, where the plan design is as well. And we're very excited that it actually improves dramatically telehealth resources that now could be available to our staff in much easier to access ways and much more plentiful ways, as well as supporting overall wellness of all of our employees. I'll turn it over to Damon now, who can go over a bit more about this content.
Good evening, guys. This will probably be the shortest presentation you see of me up here. This committee, as Monique has said, was really awesome to be part of. They did not focus on the bottom line, which is what finance guys like me like to do. They focused on the employee needs, like Dr. Diaz was just saying, and making sure that the employees got what they needed and continued on. So with true honor, United Healthcare came in and just by stroke of luck, they happened to be the one that passed along the most savings to us. So the finance guy in the room was extremely happy. The numbers in front of you on the eye chart, like I normally bring you guys, show about a $300,000 reduction in our overall premium for the year. Please keep in mind that this is this is subject to change with participation. So this is mirroring off of what we think we have now is participant, or not what we think, what we have now and what we think will be participating next year. So if we have more participants or less participants, these numbers will vary just a little bit, but not by much. And as you can see, all the other providers, there's 2 other providers, Cigna and what was the carrier that Maritime? Maritime, which is also known as ASBATE, was also proposing a reduction as well, but they were both disqualified in the original round before they went to best and final. So we are going to ask, and I'll rebring, I believe, Monique back up to talk about the recommendations. Is that right? It's round robin.
So we wanted to split it up because we didn't want to just talk about the entire process. We because there are really three separate RFPs. We have our group medical, so now we're going to talk about the dental and vision plan, and then we're going to end with the employee assistance program. But I'm not going to go through this process again because of the fact that I've already spoke about it. It's the exact same process, but I do want to note that I distribute this solicitation to 131 vendors. So a little bit more of a bigger pool, but the same type of process took place. So I'm going to turn it over to, I'm just going to stand up here. I'm not going to go back and forth. I'm just going to stand here and turn it over to Dr. Diaz.
Yeah, thank you. And it really speaks to the ways in which the community really has to look at this through a wide angle lens and through many different perspectives. And so we're still thankful that they took the time to do this. So as the committee thought about dental and vision then, again, they wanted to find consistency in our dental plan. We have a lot of satisfaction with it. So we, wanted to continue to offer a free dental PPO. We do believe we are the last school district in Maricopa County that offers a free medical and dental PPO to all employees who qualify for benefits. We're proud of that. We wanted to keep that up. We also wanted to make sure that vision insurance would maintain current costs, if not even improving costs. And the point of pride that we really had with our plan of department is a very broad access to providers. So it was important to the committee that we continue to offer that. And so in their recommendation of Delta Dental as the awardee of this, they felt, again, that was the provider that checked all these boxes the best and continues to meet the best needs for employees. Damon will come back and talk a little bit more about the cost side. Hey again. All right, another eye chart. So Delta Dental is going to be the recommendation of the board after the best and final. There is not a significant savings with Delta Dental, but it is continuity of services and makes sure that the employees have less disruption and have everything that they have today. So finance has their stamp of approval on Delta Dental with pleasure.
Able to speak about the vision, but
Ditto for monthly premium. So Delta Dental, even though it's vision, Delta Dental is going to provide the vision as well, which they currently do. No significant savings again with them. However, it maintains the service that our employees have gotten to know for the past years and will continue to provide for the next 5 years for them. So it is a good deal for the district to maintain and stamp of approval on this one as well.
so our last RFP to discuss tonight is the employee assistance program. With this RFP, I distributed the solicitation to a pool of 120 vendors. And again, the same process as the past two that we just discussed. So I'll have Dr. Diaz talk about the program review.
And President, members of the board, it actually gives me a lot of pride to actually turn this over to a member of our Human Resources Department, Crystal Tennessee. She's the one that works very hard behind the scenes to administer our employee assistance program. This is something that's very near and dear to her heart, and so something that she looked at very closely for.
Thank you and good evening. With our employee assistance program, one of the biggest things we were looking for was getting a more robust program for this price, for the same price or a cost savings. Right now, we're using Uprise Health through behavioral health, and we've had several issues. I've had several complaints from employees. The system's overrun. I'm just not getting what I feel we need from an employee assistance program. So when we started with the RFP, that was one of my biggest goals was how can we improve our employee assistance program, get more resources for our employees that need it at the most critical time with the pandemic, hopefully coming to an end. And so that was really our two biggest look at for this and building it. Right now, our employee assistance program offers 3 free counseling sessions. And so we priced out a 3 counseling plan and a 6 counseling plan. So when you see what they're going to be recommending, we actually were able to get 6 free sessions for all the employees coming up with the cost savings to the district with a great group that I think is going to provide amazing services for our employees.
Not sure how I follow that up. More services, cheaper service, better for all the employees and for the district. And it will serve which is what you guys are always looking for. And what we're always looking for, more access to the employees and during this pandemic and post-pandemic, whatever it's going to be called soon. So finance is signing off on the new, can't ever get it right, sorry, Jurgensen Berks Group for EAP, and we'll be glad to have them on board here starting July 1.
I wanted to go back, even though this is not my section, but Crystal, did you talk about the unlimited? The unlimited with the employee assistance program? Okay, can you speak just a little bit about that? Because that is important.
So with the EAP, when we were looking at it and doing the evaluation, if you look at the benefit comparisons, a lot of Jorgensen Brooks was unlimited, unlimited, unlimited. But one of our questions for best and final was, how unlimited is unlimited? It truly is unlimited. So even with, and I apologize, I don't have my eyeglasses on myself, but with even this critical incident stress management, most of the companies are going to give you 5 hours. You're going to have to pay for the rest of them. Jorgensen Group actually really believes that you get the services until you need it. And so it is unlimited. Same with webinars and teleservices and even online resources. I mean, they have such a robust program. I'm so excited about it because it's so robust. And I think it's just going to be amazing. But that's one of the things that really came out in the review and evaluation was unlimited. And they truly said that, yeah, it is with the best and final. Thank you.
See, I figured you would like to speak about that. So I wanted to go over the timeline at the end so you can understand why it's so important to have the approval done tonight. With the approval by the governing board, I will officially award all 3 of these contracts tomorrow, so that on Monday, March 14th, the HR and the business department, they can start implementing these changes. Because we're changing from Blue Cross to United Healthcare, it's not just the change of, for the district and the employees, but there's a lot of other behind the scene changes that need to be done with our systems, our financial system and so forth. So it's crucial to get an approval tonight so that we can stay on track. And then, our May 2022 open enrollment is just around the corner. So I wanted to make sure that I stress the importance of the reason why we wanted to get an approval tonight. So the group medical, just to recap, the group medical prescription drug plan will be recommended an award for United Healthcare. The dental and vision plan, the recommended award is for Arizona Dental Services doing business as Delta Dental of Arizona. And then the employee assistance program is Jurgensen Healthcare Associates. So tonight I would like to put forth to the board and recommend that we award these 3 vendors. Do you have any questions?
I see. Thank you guys very much for this exciting news. I see it looks like we're extending, it's a multi-year contract. Is that different?
Yeah,
than
so
what's
this
done in
is
the
going to
past?
be, all 3 of these contracts are 5-year contracts.
That's different, right? Same? That's what it is. Okay. I just
So
wanted to.
the way the contract is structured, it's a firm contract for the first year. And then every 4 years, we do a contract renewal. So we'll come back and let you know what the benefit changes are, if there's any price changes. We work with our group, our insurance consultant, the Sequel Group, because again, we're not experts in all of the complexities of insurance, but we work with them before we come back to the board to get the next year, the extension renewed.
Anyone else have a question?
I know we just talked about no worrying about the bottom line, but how much are we saving from switching over?
Going to United Healthcare, we're going to estimate about $300,000 in savings for the year. And I do want to add 2 things that I forgot just a second ago. First, the reason why Blue Cross Blue Shield is not in the running was they came in about $1 million higher than everybody else, so they were kind of disqualified by the group for that reason. But United Healthcare, another advantage to United Healthcare that the group likes is they capped our increase for next year. So our increase next year is capped at 5% or 3%, 5%. 5% for next year. And then they also disclose to us in future years what their rate structure and how claims will affect it. And so we can better forecast as we better educate our employees on different resources through EAP and so forth. We can drive down the cost and we know what our future increases would be. And that is for anybody that's ever dealt with insurance, which all of us have, I think, is huge to have some predictability in that. So yeah, 300,000 the first year, but it could grow if we have more participants.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing on the crystal back up too, because those cost savings are not just the students in the district. Those cost savings would be passed on over to Crystal studies very extensively.
Yeah, so with every tier group, with every plan tier, the employees will see a decrease in their biweekly paycheck deductions for any insurance plan that they do pick.
What's the is the range of a decrease?
In perspective, I had a whole report
It's
with the
okay.
differences.
If you can.
At the most expensive with like the buy-up plan with with an employee and 2 for more, they were gonna save $40 per paycheck.
Per paycheck, so
Yeah.
like $80 a month-ish, right?
Correct.
Great, that's awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
I do have one more question, just for clarification. As far as the employee assistance program, does that kind of replace any behavioral health services? Is that like a different name for stuff like that? Okay, just wondered.
Yeah, it's free counseling services for employees, but not just for dealing with grief and loss and stress. They also provide financial services. They provide legal services, other things like that that are free to the employees.
Just wondered. Thank you very much, guys, for the information.
Madam Chair. So first of all, I'd like to congratulate you. Moni, can you go back to the first slide that shows the names of all the participants? I would just like to pause and say that's a huge group. That's lots of voices, lots of folks who have opinions, lots of folks who are asking questions. And so I want to thank all of the people who participated in this process. Monique, I want to thank you because I know firsthand how challenging it can be to bring everybody together, explain the rules, make sure everything stays compliant and all the rest. So thank you.
Thank you. And I do, Dr. Weeks wants to acknowledge Crystal Sinisi because, as you know, I'm new. And so Crystal is the person who actually worked very hard to engage these individuals. And that took some time because we wanted to make sure that we were having representation across the district. So I want to definitely acknowledge her hard work for that.
Thank you, Crystal. And for clarity, the vision, is it free to employees or no?
It is not. That's always been a voluntary buy-up option for employees, and it's going up 19 cents.
So what is the employee obligation? Should they choose?
$6.19 per month would be the premium provision.
I'm sorry,
$6.19
per month.
per month if they elect to have vision coverage.
So 305 a paycheck.
Approximately, you have to look at 21 pays and 26 pays. So
Okay, that's fine.
354 and 286.
And Damon, what is the per employee cost from the employer? How much benefit do employees receive from this employer paid benefit per employee?
Can I ask for clarification? I don't know that I'm understanding your
It's
question.
usually between $6,000 and $7,000 per employee.
Are you talking about the benefit that they can receive?
That's correct.
Uh,
The employer outlay, because it's part of the benefits, salary and benefits package. So if you're a Phoenix L employee, upon award of this contract, employees will receive this benefit next year. It's always good to know what the per employee outlay, so the board understands how much per employee that the district will be paying out next year.
Correct. Okay, now I got what you're saying. Sorry, I thought you were meaning like what their benefit would be if they use all their benefits. So the outlay I do not have with me tonight, and there's a reason for that. We have to get the final participation numbers, and that'll distribute what their costs are going to be, and then I can provide that outlay to the board. Because of the best and final secondary pricing, I have estimates, but I do not have the exact amount as of tonight. I apologize for that.
And for the benefit of the board, that's pretty common when you're switching from one provider to another, and you would want to wait until after the open enrollment period to really dial that number in.
Yeah, I will say generally speaking, in today's terms, when I look at across the board and what we're paying now, your estimates of 6,000 to 8,000, depending on the plan, is pretty accurate. But because we're switching so much, I don't want to cement us into just a number at this point without the open enrollment. So,
Okay, thank you. I look forward to seeing the number.
thank you.
Thank you, everyone. With that, do we have a motion to approve this item as recommended by the administration?
Jessica Bueno, so moved.
Reggie Carrillo, second.
Thank you both. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Ma'am, can we please have a roll call vote?
Yes. Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Reggie Carrillo,
Aye.
Alicia Rink,
Aye.
Eloy Diaz,
With that, the motion passes. Thank you all very much. I'm excited. With that, that leads us to item G. We'll be moving on to our executive session to discuss our confer negotiations with employee organizations. Any agreements that are or decisions will all be made in a public vote. Nothing will be decided in executive session. From time to time, we do this so that we're able to consult with our attorneys and leadership to discuss things that aren't able to be out in public. I don't think we anticipate it being longer than an hour.
I don't think it'll be that long, but this is an action item, Madam Chair. We'll ask for a call.
Absolutely. I'd like to call for a motion to adjourn to executive session.
Jessica Bueno, so moved. Alicia being second.
Thank you very much. Ms. Mayor, can we please have a roll call vote?
sure. Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Reggie Carrillo,
Aye.
Alicia Rink, Eloy Diaz.
All right, with the motion passes and we will adjourn to executive session at 7:33 p.m. All right, everyone, good evening. We are going to resume back to regular session of tonight's board meeting at 9:08 p.m. And with that, we will move on to item I1. With our governing board proclamation. Who's going to lead that conversation? Mr. Quintana or Dr. Gonzalez?
This one, I'm not familiar with this particular item.
Madam Chair, administration recommends the governing board approve the proclamation of NAEYC Week of the Young Child, April 2nd through April 8th of 2022. This, if I remember, comes to us from our Early Childhood Center, Principal Salazar. And she is asking that the governing board approve a proclamation that states quite simply, all young children deserve quality early learning environments that support them as capable and competent lifelong learners. And then it goes down from there.
Thank you. I did get a chance to read through it. So the only question I had was just making sure the acronym I had was right. The top of this has something different than in here. So other than that, I don't have any other questions for that. If we could have a motion to approve as recommended.
And I'm still rebooting to get to the board doc, so I can't see what you're looking at, but NIAC is the acronym for the National Association of Early Educators and Early Childhood Educators, excuse me. And this will kick off part of our campaign to really invest in and develop our early childhood programming across the district, as we believe this is a great recruitment strategy for the longevity of our district.
Anybody on motion?
Jessica Bueno, second.
The only discussion I had was that we amend the title of it to include NAEYC as opposed to AEYC. So may we have a roll call vote to approve as amended?
Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Reggie Carrillo,
Aye.
Alicia Vink,
Aye.
Laura Diaz,
Aye.
Thank you. With that, the motion passes. Congratulations, Naya. And we can move on to item I2, discussing the ASBA search agreement.
Madam Chair, administration recommends the governing board review, discuss, and take possible action to approve a search agreement with the Arizona School Boards Association to allow the board president to sign the agreement on behalf of the board, and I will defer to Mr. Quintana.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Weeks. This item, along with the next three, item 2, 3, and 4, they are related to the new superintendent search. As you know, we're working with ASPA, Mr. Steve Highland, to carry out this process. And in this particular item, we reviewed this agreement at a meeting last Friday. And we wanted to have an opportunity for the board to review it and make some potential changes on it. And so we're presenting to you the kind of the final version, unless you have changes to the plan, to the agreement. Otherwise, we're asking for agreement and approval to carry this out by tomorrow.
At this point, am I okay to ask questions, or do I need to do a motion and then open that up and then discuss after we have a second? That's what my thought. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the search agreement for ASBA?
Alicia Vink, so moved. Jessica Bueno, second.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? Yes, I have a question. As far as Exhibit C, Mr. Quintana, The background checks, that came up in a conversation earlier as a way to save money, cut costs. Do we anticipate doing those background checks, or will ASBA, would we like ASBA to complete that process on their end? And I'm just wondering, I don't have a preference either way.
Right, in this case, we decided to go and have them do it as part of the process.
Just wondering. Any other questions? Wonderful. Ms. Nguyen, we have a roll call to approve.
Carmen Trujillo.
Aye.
Jessica Bueno.
Aye.
Rachel Trujillo. Aye. Elisa Week.
Aye.
Laura Diaz.
Aye.
With that, the motion passes. Thank you all very much. And we'll move on to item I3. Review, discuss, and take possible action to approve the advertising document for the position of district superintendent. Do we have a motion to approve that document as presented?
Alicia Vink, so moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Would you call a second?
Thank you very much. Any discussion? Take your time if you need to. I was able to look it over and everything looks good in my end, so. Okay. Ms. Miller, can we have a roll call to approve that item?
Carmen Trujillo.
Aye.
Jessica Bueno.
Aye.
Rachel Trujillo. Aye. Elisa Week.
Aye.
Laura Diaz.
Aye.
Thank you all. With that, the motion passes to approve our executive search agreement. And we will move on to item I4. Discussing the questions to be added to the application for the district superintendent policy. And I do have one proposed suggestion, so can we have a motion to approve item I4?
Jessica Bueno, so moved.
Thank you. May we have a second?
Alicia Vink, second.
Thank you. As far as discussion is concerned, I would like to suggest a revision to the third question, adding one sentence after the continuous student achievement. So I'm going to go ahead and read that. An important purpose of Phoenix Elementary District is to provide for student achievement. The district's 2025 strategic plan identifies goals and strategies that establish a foundation for continuous student achievement. The plan contains several action teams that address district opportunities and challenges. In 300 words or less, identify what you believe are the best avenues to address one or more action items. Also, identify professional experience and personal skills you have that provide the leadership strength necessary to guide the district in this effort. Any other discussion on making that one revision?
Can you reread the exact wording that you're adding to it?
Yes, it's adding a sentence after the second sentence. The plan contains several action teams that address district opportunities and challenges. Does that make more sense, Dr. Weeks?
Yeah, do you have more to add to that? I thought you said one or more.
I think the only other change, yes, you're right. In 300 words or less, identify what you believe are the best avenues to address one or more action teams.
Thank you. Okay.
I'm okay with those changes.
With that, Ms. Miriam, may we please have a roll call vote to approve the motion as amended? I'm sorry, the document as amended.
Carmen Trujillo.
Aye.
Jessica Bueno.
Aye.
Reggie Carrillo.
Aye.
Elisa Wu.
Aye.
Laura Diaz.
Aye.
With that, that motion passes. Thank you all very much. Item I5 is to receive, discuss, and take possible action to approve to invite select participants to a community leadership meeting with a representative of ASBA to discuss the necessary skills and the next district superintendent. My apologies. The necessary skills the next district superintendent will need to continue and enhance growth of the district. Do we have a motion to approve item I5 as presented?
Recommend somebody?
I think it's more so the opportunity that we will have these meetings carried out
Okay.
with Mr. Highland.
Jessica Bueno, so moved.
Reggie Carrillo, second.
Thank you both. Ms. Mayor, may we please have a roll call vote?
Carmen Trujillo.
Aye.
Jessica Bueno.
Aye.
Reggie Carrillo.
Aye.
Elisa Wu.
Aye.
Laura Diaz.
Aye.
Thank you very much. With that, our motion passes and we can move on to item I6, board reports and requests. Or is that actually? Good. My apologies. Do we have any board reports and additional board reports and requests from the board?
Yeah, just reports, just following earlier. This is probably more relevant, but I was lucky to fortunate to attend the 100-year celebration of Emerson along with Dr. Rink and President Trujillo. And it was so inspiring. It was filled with community. It reminded me and many of us why we're doing the work that we're doing, who we are doing the work for, which is our students and for our community. And just again to Mr. Pizaro's quote is really planting seeds so that the next generation can grow up in an area with more shade, right? That's literally and that's symbolically too. And just knowing that the decisions we're making now are going to impact future generations. But again, just great shout out to our marketing director, marketing communications director, Wendy Jeffries, Mary, and also all of them who work together to just advertise that event on social media. Shout out to the president, everybody who was able to show up, and everyone who spoke. Just seeing the power community, but also just of our partners who were there. The SciTech Institute was there running activities. That was beautiful to see. The kids' performances. So it was just a beautiful event overall, and I'm so happy that I got to attend. And just I'm looking forward to future events that are just like that. And then also a report just going along too with the work that Linda Jeffries is doing is thank you for setting up working with AZ Body Stories to set up the filming for this Saturday. So board member Bueno and I will be at the Arizona Latino Arts and Cultural Center filming the event informational video that will go out and be posted on AZ Body Stories, which they have about an audience of like 200,000 people. So that would be great advertising for our school district for this event. And then if you're listening, or just if you don't know, on the 150th is the vendor registration. So if you know anybody who has a main hustle, a business on the side, looking for a vendor opportunity, a nonprofit looking to provide a booth, those links are on the website. And I've been sharing those around. But if you know anybody operating who has a nonprofit, working on a nonprofit, provide services for our community, someone who has a food truck, anything like that, share that link to them so they can sign up and we can see them at this event. And then just a big shout out to our team, Dr. Diaz, Ms. Jeffries for responding and everyone else responding to the recent media attention that we've been getting and just posting about how we're navigating these challenges together as a team and looking out for our school community. Thank you for all that. And then just a big thanks to the review committee for investing their time and bringing forth a healthcare plan that's going to benefit our employees financially and just overall with their health. So that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Creel, for your words. I will echo your sentiments regarding most of that, actually. But the Emerson 100th celebration, it was just really wonderful to be able to see families again, especially because they're the families of the classmates of my son that I have not been able to connect with in 2 years now. So that was amazing. As far as requests, I just had two. The first one was communication to our families of additional vaccine opportunities prior to discussion, to our discussion regarding mitigation strategies. And then the second request was just an update on our student advisory council. Is that what we call it? Advisory council? I think so.
The Superintendent's Advisory Council, I think, is the new name for it, but yes. I'd like to also echo that from both board members. The 100th year celebration was great. I did get to connect with some parents, visit the Playworks table that we've got an agreement with to serve our schools. So overall, it was a wonderful event, really huge turnout, and all of the trees and shrubs were everywhere. So it really was nice to see that it wasn't, you know, some Charlie Brown trees in a corner somewhere. But so thank you all very much for that. There was a vaccine event at the Emerson thing that I hadn't heard about. So I think, or I hadn't personally heard, doesn't mean it wasn't sent out, but so good points on communicating more so about our vaccine events before we make any of those decisions. And that's it. I don't have any other reports, but great job, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. With that, we can move on to item I7, any future agenda items. I don't have any. Hearing none, we'll move on to item J1, our adjournment. May we have a motion to adjourn the meeting this evening?
Reggie, got a motion to adjourn?
Thank you. Just the 1 second. Thank you very much. Ms. Mayor, may we please have a vote to adjourn this evening's meeting?
Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Reggie Carrillo,
Aye.
Elisa Vick,
Aye.
and Lloyd Diaz.
Hi.
Thank you all very much. With that, the motion passes and we will adjourn our meeting at 9:27 p.m. Dr. Weeks, what's the date of our next meeting? Is it the 31st? 20th. Got it. So our next meeting, everyone listening out there, would be March 24th at 6:15 p.m. I'm sorry.